All right, here we go. Houghton Mifflin, 5th grade reading book. This is page 626. The Golden Lion Tamarin comes home. Looks like that. And here we go, building some vocabulary first. Rescue in the rainforest. The home in the Golden Lion Tamarin comes home is the coastal rainforest of Brazil. And there's a map right over here to the right that shows you where that rainforest is located. It's on the coast. That's why it's called the coastal rainforest. Excuse me. It provides a habitat for a great variety of animals, even though, as the map on the right shows, the rainforest has been reduced to a fraction of its original size. How did this happen? So this is where this animal lives, and that's the habitat or the home of the animal. All right. When human beings move into an area, their need for food and shelter may conflict with the needs of the animals who make their home there. In other words, the humans need stuff, the animals need stuff, so somebody's going to win, somebody's going to lose. As they lose their habitat to human development, that means as humans build homes or tear stuff down to make crops or whatever. Let's see. As they lose their habitat to human development, animals like the golden lion tamarin may even face extinction. That means that they could actually be all dead and gone and no more of them. This creates a dilemma or a problem. How to allow for development without threatening wildlife. So it's a very tricky situation because people need to survive, but the animals, we don't want to destroy all the animals or anything. So it's this dilemma. There is hope. The reintroduction of captive tamarins into the wild may help their numbers grow in what remains of the rainforest. Reintroduction means that they're being put back into the rainforest. They capture them, they're captive tamarins, they take care of them, they get them healthy, and then they put them back into their habitat out in the wild. Who is doing this work? Where does the work begin and end? The answers are in The Golden Lion Tamarin Comes Home. So we're going to find out about work with these animals, reintroducing them into the wild. And you might want to pause the video and take a closer look at those pictures, but we are going to be moving on to this page here. And it has the author and photographer George Ancona right here on the left. You can read that on your own. But down here on page 629 it says, as you read, monitor your understanding of how people are trying to help the golden lion tamarin. If necessary, reread or read ahead to clarify. So when good readers read, if they are a little confused, they go back and read the part again. They continue to read, then maybe come back, if they're confused. And so the book is encouraging you to do that. Now we're on to this page here. And by the way, make sure you watch the video that I have linked to this story so you can see a real live golden lion tamarin on your computer. Whistling softly as she scans the upper canopy of leaves, Andrea Martins leads her sister Carolina and brother Renato through the rainforest. It is hot and humid. The small group is surrounded by the teeming life of the tropical forest. Birds sing, insects buzz, cicadas chirp. Nearby, they hear a tractor engine, cattle lowing, a rooster, and men at work on a fazenda or farm. They pick their way carefully along the narrow path to avoid the sharp spines of leaves and the tangle of vines underfoot. So they're working their way through the jungle, looking at things, being careful. Andrea raises her hand and the group stops. Above them, the leaves rustle and branches sway as streaks of orange gold flash in the speckles of sunlight. I bet that's the golden tamarin that they're seeing up there. Mikos, she whispers to the children and points to the cluster of golden lion tamarins staring down at them from the branches of the trees. Their high-pitched whistles and squeaks pierce the air, so they're making this really high-pitched squeaking whistling sound. Miko is short for Mico Leo Dourado, the Portuguese name for the golden lion tamarin of Brazil. About the size of a squirrel, the monkey is named for its color and lion-like mane. And if you look at the picture there, it does look like they have a mane like a lion, and you can see that they're about the size of a squirrel. They're really small. On to the next page. The golden lion tamarin is found only in the coastal rainforest of southeastern Brazil. It's the only place you find these animals in the world. Flanked, that means it's next to it, flanked by a mountain range on the west and the Atlantic Ocean on the east. So it's surrounded by mountains on one side, ocean on the other. The forest once stretched for 1,500 miles. When the first Europeans arrived, they cut down the trees to build their homes and towns. They burned the rest of the forest to clear the land for settlements, for coffee and sugar plantations, and for pastures on which to graze livestock. The city of Rio de Janeiro grew and spread. Today, only 2% of the original forest remains, scattered like small islands in a sea of farms and towns. So 2% is all that's left now. As its native habitat disappeared, as the trees that it lived in were chopped down, in other words, so did the golden lion tamarin. By 1960, there were so few left that Dr. A. Cornbrafilo, a Brazilian biologist, warned of its imminent extinction. In other words, it's for sure that, this animal is going to become extinct if things continue the way that they're going. He urged the Brazilian government to set aside the remaining forest as a wildlife refuge. In other words, protect the rest of the forest that's there so that the animals will survive. The Poco das Antas Biological Reserve, a protected habitat, was established in 1973. The tall trees in the tropical rainforest offer the tamarins food, protection from predators, and a network of routes through their territories. The cup centers of the bromeliads, plants that live in host trees, hold water and insects for the monkeys to drink and eat. So it's important that they have these trees there so that they have things to eat and drink. Tamarins are omnivorous. They eat not only fruits, seeds, and nuts, but also bird eggs, insects, frogs, and snakes, which provide additional protein. So they're like you and I, unless you're a vegetarian. They eat both meat and they eat, fruits, vegetables, nuts, and things like that. So go ahead and finish reading this. We're on the bottom of 631, and read the rest of the story. Learn about the golden lion tamarin, and be ready to take the quiz on it tomorrow. Fun stuff. Hope you enjoy it.